Let's go.
Let's go. All right, welcome back.
Wow, we're right at time. 8:59.
8:59. We're actually less than a minute early. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another amazing, not really, broadcast of the Eagles Dance podcast. I'm, of course, Brad Brewer.
And I'm Vince Devall here with the Eagle Homes team powered by Caldwell Banker Realty.
Well, today we've got actually, do you know why I thought about this topic?
Yeah, it's because of my backyard.
Yeah, Vince is doing a new backyard. I guess we'll call it an oasis.
Oh, it's going to be an oasis.
It's going to be an oasis. So I thought we'd talk about something that homeowners think about at some point, how to turn that backyard into an amazing space.
Yeah.
But more importantly, whether you should design it for your own enjoyment or maybe for resale value.
Great question. I think those two things are not always the same, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of homeowners are like, hey, well, I just spent $100,000 on a new deck. Right. But they're actually competing with each other a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly. So today we're going to go break down that, give you your real world perspective, and then help you make smarter decisions depending on what your goals are.
Yeah. So let's start simple. How important is the backyard when it comes to selling a home?
I would say it's more important than most people think. I mean, yeah, I know, especially when you're selling properties, there's that conversation about curb appeal. For most properties, unless you're on a lake, because the curbside actually is considered the backyard or the back of the house.
Yeah.
Other than that, most people don't think of that when they think curb appeal, but it can be an amazing surprise when people walk in. And, they go through the house, all of a sudden they go into this backyard. It's amazing. It can definitely be an added pop value, but buyers don't necessarily pay attention to that dollar for dollar backyard upgrades. But they absolutely feel the difference. A great backyard creates emotional connection, right? Imagine your family out there. It makes the home feel bigger because it's an extension of the interior. And it helps buyer actually picture their lifestyle, kind of like outdoor staging.
Yeah.
I guess you could call it, right?
Yeah. A great example is I had a listing last August, give or say. Mm-hmm. And house was okay. It was in great shape. No basement. It was on a crawl space in Pleasant Prairie. But it had a gorgeous backyard. Mm-hmm. Well done. They, had an in-ground pool. They had a little spa area or hot tub area, a fire pit area that was well manicured, nice landscaping, fenced in. And that really sold that house. Mm-hmm. That took that house from, just an ordinary 3-bedroom, 2-bath, small little home to a nice little oasis. So it's more about perception than exact ROI.
Yeah, 100%. Like kind of your point, especially for people like myself. I know when it's nice out, I like to be outside.
Yep.
If it's warm enough to sit outside, I am sitting outside. So even a little deck or whatever, something where you can create that space that is that expansion in your home. But it's definitely important, and it does give you an ROI. Sometimes not necessarily in dollars, but again, that extra value, I guess. But if it's clean, functional, and it's an inviting space to help that home sell faster, and sometimes again for more money, it's so much worth whatever money you pour into it. Maybe it's not as much as you're going to do.
No, we're not going down that rabbit hole. That's we're going all out. Let's just put it that way.
But I can tease. But I still argue in your defense, because I tease you, I'll support what you're doing. You are at least going to be in the house for another 10 years.
Oh, 100%.
At least. Probably longer.
Probably 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I think it's set up for us.
I think you're gonna get that investment for it. And it's even beyond when the girls are grown. Like that house, to me, your house doesn't, it's large, but it doesn't feel always like so big and overwhelming for two people. And a dog probably. All right. So let's define the difference. What does it mean to design a backyard for resale versus personal enjoyment?
Yeah, I think resale is always about the next buyer. Personal enjoyment is about your lifestyle today, right now. So resale typically equals neutral, clean, broadly appealing. Enjoyment customized to your needs and wants. It's comfort driven, lifestyle focused. So, for us personally, it's more about enjoyment than it is resale because, we're doing some things that people may not like or want.
Well, I can speak personal. I'll let you speak to this just in addition. Like you said, when you're focused out, like for me, and backyards I've done for me, I like maybe an outdoor bar,
right?
An eating area, like semi, not a full outdoor kitchen, but some type of outdoor cooking area. To me, those are important to me because I like to get my, like this weekend, I did another pulled pork, 10 hours of smoking. I wish I would have had time to do it the day. I actually did it overnight. So I didn't really sleep Saturday night. I more napped, or Friday night, I guess you'd call it. But those are types of things that are more lifestyle focused to me that I would do. And I know what you're doing is similar.
Yep. Yeah.
But still, you can go wrong. So where do people typically go wrong, do you think?
I think they assume what they love is what buyers will love.
Okay.
So, and that's not always true.
Mhm.
A lot of people will over customize their backyard, over improving for the neighborhood,
Mhm.
and then spending money in areas buyers don't find value. Like it might be, yeah, a great example. We're putting up a pergola.
Mhm.
It's going to have a ceiling fan in it.
Mhm.
Not, that maybe that's not for everybody, but for us, it's that comfort, it's that lifestyle that we want.
I I
So.
would do the ceiling fan. That's just me though.
Right, right. So, if someone is focused on resale value, what should they prioritize?
There's just a few things that I think consistently make a big difference. Just like inside, I will say this: a clean, defined space. Buyers want to instantly understand where do I sit, where do I eat, and where do people gather.
Yeah,
Right. Another thing is low maintenance landscaping. Clean edges, fresh mulch, trim bushes, rock. I actually prefer the rock beds because you don't have to fill it in every year versus the mulch.
yeah,
A little more expensive up front. So that's where you can kind of get into your low, mid, and high end budget on items. But nothing overwhelming that's too high maintenance. Again, the rock bed does that for the maintenance versus mulch. Lighting, to me, that makes the home feel safe, more usable. I think, if you got a good, especially outdoor, if you got a really well lit space, it really, to me, day or night extends that living space
yeah,
into the
yep,
evening hours at night where you're not feel like you're outside sitting in the dark. Another thing is a simple gathering feature, fire pit or small seating area. Doesn't need to be elaborate, doesn't need to be crazy. I've done on several of my homes I've owned that didn't have a fire pit, built my own on a not even a weekend project, a half a day project.
yeah,
I mean, it really can be done pretty quickly. And of course, privacy, fences, landscapings, different types of spacing, but not too closed off or boxed in because you do want to feel like it's open and big, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So, what about big ticket items like outdoor kitchens or pools? You mentioned,
Yeah.
you prefer the kitchen. We're doing a pool. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is where people definitely need to be careful. And this is like to your point and what you mentioned on customizations. This is definitely can be customizations and not ideal. For me, an outdoor kitchen is it's going to be nice. It's what I like to do, I love, doing different types of smoking, different types of meats and veggies, quite frankly, everything. But is that going to give an ROI? Probably not,
Probably
maybe
not.
not. Pools, very market specific. In some areas, it's a huge value. You're down in Florida, Arizona, places like that, huge value. Here, it's actually can be quite often a negative.
Yeah,
And I know you
yeah.
already have a pool, so
We have a pool and we're expand the pool, get making it more usable for us,
Mhm.
right? So it goes back to that personal preference versus what a buyer wants in 10 years or
Mhm.
20 years or 30 years when we decide to sell the house. So yeah.
All right, now let's flip it. If someone is designing purely for their own enjoyment, what do you think about that?
Oh man, this is where you can have fun, but you still want to be intentional with it, right? Uh, it's let's talk about comfort first.
Okay.
I think that is the biggest thing. If it's not comfortable, you won't use it. And I'll use our example. Our deck, it's good space right now,
Right.
but how can we make it better? And part of it was, we like to use it late afternoons. Therefore, we wanted a little more shade, so that's where the pergola comes in.
Okay.
Our kids are getting older, so our pool, is feeling a little more crowded. So, we wanted to get it to a point where it's comfortable in the long term versus just today or tomorrow. And then, how you actually live
Mhm.
is also very important. Uh, do you host a lot? Do you just like to relax? Like I love smoking, I love grilling, so I'm gonna have a space for the grill and the smoker, and then entertaining. Right? We have outdoor speakers currently. They're gonna stay. We're gonna put an outdoor TV in, and
Okay.
it's gonna be a little more, but think about, do you entertain a lot? How do you entertain? And then the ambience, or what's the lighting like? What's, you talked about a fire pit.
Mhm.
What's that, that vibe for the outdoor area? And then finally, what are the relaxation features? hot tub, pool, quiet space, things like that are all things that you have to consider when you are designing something for your personal use that is completely, I'm going to be in this house for 20 years and I want it to work for me, not for the next buyer. And I don't want to worry about what they're going to think of 20 years
Right.
because we all know stuff changes. Paint colors change, styles change. Like the stuff can be outdated in 20 years.
Completely. That makes a lot of sense. I would say, like you mentioned, I would even say it's less about ROI. I don't think this is about ROI at all. Especially with if you are truly confident you're gonna be this place 15, 20 plus years, the ROI really won't matter because like the things will change, things will be different.
Yep.
But it's exactly where to me the two most important things are you designing for you and or how much do you entertain? I'm a and I you know to me, I'm always like, I'd rather have people come over than go out. So customization thought process is going to be huge for me. I think your kids are especially going to be getting to the point in ages where they're going to have more friends coming over and stuff
Right.
like that. So you guys probably going to be the entertainment hotspot. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, exactly. The return is really in time spent, memories
Mhm.
created, and just the daily
Mhm.
enjoyment. So yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say are some of the biggest mistakes you see homeowners make today?
And I'll use this phrase. It's unfortunate sometimes for sellers when I say you never want to be the nicest house on the block.
Right.
You don't want to be the worst either. Somewhere in the middle is great because if you're the nicest one and you've overbuilt for the neighborhood, definitely from an ROI you're not going to get it. But so
Right.
you don't want to be the nicest backyard by a mile, but you want to make sure obviously customization versus the resales that have been something one thing.
Yeah.
Over customization, themes, bold designs, just like inside. I remember I was in a house where this bathroom had this. It was like a safari type specialized paint job that the owner spent a ton of money on. But almost, I'd say more than 80% of buyers that came through hated it.
Didn't like it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
same thing outside. You want your themes to be pretty common that people are going to like.
Yeah.
Also, ignoring flow. No defined areas. Like we talked about the fire pit area, the maybe the kitchen area, the pool area. You want that nice flow that doesn't feel cluttered or confusing. Sometimes where like you're kind of talking about your deck. I know you're going bigger. I know you're going with the pergola because I know your backyard faces the west. So you're
Yeah.
going to get that evening sun, right? So you do have to those defined areas, but you definitely want to make sure that you're sized right so you're not cluttered or confused on where you're going.
Exactly.
High maintenance choices. I kind of talked about the whole rocks versus mulch, right?
Yeah.
Buyers, when they see some things, they see work.
Right.
I always saw like landscaping wise, just outside. If I see a lot of bushes, shrubs that I know grow a lot, every landscaper I've ever for my own properties, I've always said, if I have to pay someone or I have to cut these back more than twice a year, I'm going to tear them out and drive them to your house and throw them in your yard.
Right. Yeah.
Because I don't want that. I want simple. I want to spend more time enjoying it than working on it.
Yeah.
And then spending without a plan, super dangerous.
It is. And I will say that spending without a plan, also think ahead. Like
Yeah.
think about, all right, maybe in a year from now, I want to add a hot tub. Okay. How do I get the electrical there before I, tear everything when I have everything tore up, right? Or how do I get, gas for a pool heater or a grill? How do I get that natural gas in there so that I don't have to worry about that? So, you know, have that plan. Think about the plan today versus maybe the plan in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, so that you can build ahead. Because a little extra money today is going to save you a lot of money in that.
Well, here's a quick question for you, because just like a home, when you build a home, you have a plan, you have design,
Yep.
you have architecture, right? Didn't you do the same thing for your exterior?
Yeah, we did. We've gone through multiple plans, multiple permitting, zoning, designs, and so yes, same idea, right? We have a plan, we have a workflow or whatever we want to call it, um, so that we know what that looks like in the timeline too, right?
Okay. Yeah. So what's that balance? How do people get the best of both worlds, do you think?
I think there's really a smart way to approach this. I think it's investing in the landscaping, the layout, and the light, right? Those three things are really gonna, if the layout works for a lot of people, and the landscaping is appealing, and the lighting is good, even great, like it's going to make a difference. People are going to be wowed by that. This benefits both resale and your long-term enjoyment. Uh, Keep your permanent features neutral.
Okay.
Patio structures, hardscaping, don't go with, bright colors
Yeah.
or mix and matching, 2 to 3 colors. Keep it very neutral. Keep the structures very simple, nothing extravagant.
Here's a thought too. Uh, does your current design for yours it kind of tie into the overall already color of your home?
Yeah, it does. It
And
does.
I think that would be important too, because
Yep.
you don't want to. Sometimes if you're, I think your tan, your house is mostly tan, right?
Blue.
Blue.
Grayish blue, yeah.
Light skirt. Oh, I thought it was tan.
Yeah,
Oh, I think it's your rock in the front. Anyway, the no, so you going with something that would contrast blue. Well, orange comes to mind unless you're Ryan Bowman who loves the Broncos. He might like that.
right. Or a Bears fan.
Yeah,
I'm a Bears fan.
or Bears fan. I could have gone that route,
Yeah.
but hey, we're giving our shout out to our local chiropractor. So that,
Yep.
but I think those types of things definitely add that personality, but don't get overwhelmed for people.
Yeah. And add personality through non-permanent items. So
Mhm.
if you want it to be a little more personal, it's furniture, decor, lighting accents, like maybe it's, rope lighting going around the railing or just different furniture that can be changed very, very easily. So yeah.
All right, so you can enjoy it now without hurting yourself later, right? I mean, what that's kind of like the thought process.
Yeah, exactly. You're designing flexibility into the space. You're
Okay.
designing, what's going to work long term for you so that you don't have to make a bunch of changes down the road.
All right. So after saying all that, we kind of covered a lot of things from
Yeah.
personalization, customization, resale. Whatever. To me, what would if you were going to say someone tomorrow like start here, where would you say you'd start?
I would say, start drawing on paper.
Okay.
Like, hey, what does your vision look like? Get it on paper, start there today, and then evolve it, right?
Okay.
Then work with an architect, work with a designer and say, hey, this is my vision. What can we do with it?
And I'll have you come. I'll make the statement, but I want you to confirm it because you went through this. Because I'm pretty sure I know the timeline here. If you're doing more for customization for you, you're a long time planning to stay for in your home a long time. Is there a hurry? Like if I remember, like you started this planning more than a year ago.
I started this vision probably about 2 years ago,
Okay,
right?
see, that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
how
it
I
was
was wondering.
about 2 years ago. 2 years ago during the summertime, I was like, man, it'd be nice to have a bigger pool, a bigger
Right.
deck, right? Like all these things, and reached out to a couple local people. Things didn't line up like we thought. Um, and then I reached out to somebody in October to kind of get this ball rolling. And then we had some permitting issues. We didn't realize our septic was laid out in our backyard the way it is. So that threw a hiccup in the wrench, or a wrench in the program, and
Sure.
we had to modify. So yeah, so kind of plan it out, work on it. But I also have a friend that is, I talked to her 2 months ago about redoing her deck and backyard, and it's starting next week.
Now, are they also staying? Or are they
No, they're staying.
resale?
They're,
Okay.
they're staying. They're it's long term hold for them, but they knew they had to redo their deck. I mean, they're making their deck bigger.
And I get it. If you're doing this 100% resale, time is a factor.
Yep.
But my point is I kind of wanted to have you say what you said was because your thing is staying so long, like you talked about, like thinking about the gas lines in your on and different
Yeah.
things like that, the electrical. Don't hesitate to take your time. You'd rather it be done right
Right.
and take a little longer than something you're gonna regret, especially if you're starting to spend, especially the customization side we talked about. You spend a lot of money when you start customizing. You definitely don't want to regret that spend later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
take your time.
Yeah.
So anyway, start with questions. Am I doing this for me? Am I doing this for resale? Then if it's resale, simple, clean, functional, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's enjoyment, design, I just mentioned, take your time, bring professionals in, go over the options, try and stick with the budget. Try and start with a budget and try and stick with your budget. If it's both investment and structure and personalize the rest, just try and keep that fine balance. At the end
Right.
of the day, though, the best backyards, they're going to get used when you're there, and they are going to help your home sell.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you think about selling, just remember, buyers don't need perfection.
Mhm.
They need possibilities. They
Correct.
need functionality. So,
Correct. Correct.
yeah.
So if you found this helpful, make sure to share this episode with someone who's been thinking about upgrading their space.
Yeah. And if you want advice specific to your home, your neighborhood, your goals, we're always here to help.
Thanks for listening to Eagles Nest podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you next week, guys. Bye.